Hello, everyone, and happy International Women's Day. So gender parity, addressing inequalities and biases has been and is a key priority for us at Baker McKenzie. And we have made amazing progress on gender equality over the past years, just to mention our gender aspirational targets, or 40-40-20 targets. But we do still have a long way to go. We still have a lot to do. We don't only want to set targets, but we want to actually achieve our targets. We want to achieve these targets across offices, across practices, across committees, across different partner levels, and among our business professionals. So this year's theme for International Women's Day is Choose to Challenge. I really like it, but what does it mean? It means that we need to challenge, that we need to take action, that we cannot take things for granted. So this means that we need to be alert when we see inequalities, that we need to speak up. And being alert and challenging ourselves means that we're able to change, to progress on change. So again, do speak up, be an ally for your female colleagues. Sponsor younger female colleagues in your team to help them to progress in the firm. So you will now hear from a number of colleagues from around the globe who are telling us what Choose to Challenge does mean for them. Thank you very much for listening. And again, happy International Women's Day.
So how do I challenge gender inequality? Well, first of all, when I see it, I call it out. I'll ask the question, why isn't there gender balance on this team for this opportunity or on this panel? Secondly, I look to create opportunities for women to step up and to shine, to take advantage of new opportunities or things they wouldn't otherwise do. And third, I look at ways that I can sponsor and support our women as they come through their careers at Baker McKenzie.
I choose to challenge myself constantly, to be alert to and aware of my own gender biases, to ask myself, why am I saying or doing certain things? To reflect upon my own actions, to learn, because I want to maintain a gender equal mindset. I choose to challenge family, friends, and colleagues who may not realize they have gender biases. In particular, I choose to challenge colleagues in the legal profession who may not realize that their unconscious biases affect women's ability to shine in their careers and reach top-level positions. I choose to challenge teams with no women in leadership roles, panels with no female speakers, lists of potential arbitrators that include no women. I choose to take steps to counteract gender bias. I choose to challenge inequality. I choose to champion gender equality and inclusion.
I'm Gillian Woon, Special Counsel in the IP Tech Group in Sydney. I'm of Chinese descent and migrated from Singapore to Australia in 2002 with my Malaysian Indian husband, our first child, then 2 years old, and my mother-in-law, who had very traditional ideas about a woman's role in the home. I joined Baker's when there were hardly any Asian faces among my colleagues, and fellow associates were either child-free or quite a bit older. I had to grapple with a very different work culture while dealing with challenges at home and settling into a new country without the networks we took for granted in Singapore. I eventually found my feet and now have the privilege of being a senior lawyer in Baker's while holding leadership positions in a peak industry body. I came to a realization that things are not going to change beyond a glacial pace unless each and every one of us does our part, however small. So I chose to challenge myself to make a difference where I can and be part of the solution rather than the problem. There is no in between. So I now choose to challenge each one of us to step up, no matter how small that step may seem. Let's actively put others forward when opportunities arise, and even make those opportunities happen. The bonus is, it's incredibly rewarding.
choose to challenge gender equality on a daily basis, in little ways, like watching my pronouns and those of others, to make sure we don't automatically assume that certain roles are male or female, and doing things like buying my 4-year-old niece a book of gender-swapped fairy tales, and being careful not to praise her for being quiet, gentle, or pretty, but instead for being bold, confident, and strong. And in bigger ways, like doing my best to be a visible partner, both in the office and externally, to reinforce the fact that partners at Baker McKenzie can look a variety of different ways. And finally, working with more junior female colleagues and younger women looking to enter the legal profession, to encourage them not to place any limits on their ambitions and to forge a path to success based on their own version of success and their own expectations rather than anyone else's.
They say that each generation should leave the world a little bit better for the generation that comes after it. That should apply to equality in the workplace too. I know that I personally have benefited from the many doors that have been opened for me and women like me in the legal profession by the women and men who came before us. And I want to do my part to keep that progress going. It's really important to me because I'm a mom of 3 girls. Who knows if any one of them will ever decide to become a lawyer, but if so, I hope she'll find the kind of firm where she's evaluated based on the quality of her work and her contributions to the team, where she isn't held back by some kind of preconceived notions about what women are good at or what kind of work they do or don't want to do, and where her colleagues around her really have a vested interest in her success. Over the last 20 years, I've found that at Baker, and I believe we owe it to young girls like my daughters to keep it that way and to keep the profession that way. And that means speaking up, even when it's hard, when we see lingering examples of gender bias. It means challenging the old norms, and most of all, it means leading by example.
We know that as COVID-19 continues to affect lives across the globe, women have been disproportionately affected, potentially setting gender equality back for decades. This International Women's Day, we need to be mindful of this. We need to look at our own behaviours and challenge the barriers that are holding women back. In terms of my own personal reflections, I try to challenge my own behaviours. I try not to listen to the internal voice telling me that I can't do something or to play it safe. I also aim to be a good friend and a good mentor to my fellow colleagues by being supportive and encouraging them to test their limits, to take opportunities and to shine.